Welcome back to DohMance Dawn. Hello, sailors. I'm Luke, he, him, sometimes they, them.
And I'm Janine, she, they.
And we're back for episode 16 of the podcast. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, this is the show where we talk about One Piece episodes and then match the characters to Simpsons characters who had at least a contemporary release. And sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we have mints. So last show I referred to it as an American dub. It is technically an English dub. Also, we accidentally reused McGriff the Crime Dog for Chaka because,
Ah.
yeah, I thought that we had gotten my good choice back on that episode, but I was keel-hauled into using McGriff the Crime Dog. So at the top of our list, we will need to relitigate McGriff the Crime Dog. Also, as a side note, thank you to everybody who has left a iTunes review and comment for the show. At least on American iTunes, I saw 2 of them. If you've left them on other nationalities of iTunes, let me know. Because I literally just have to go and change the URL to bring those up. And yeah, that kind of takes care of the housekeeping that I had for this week. So let's get into the meat of the show. Janine, are you ready?
Sure.
So initially, these episodes ran from January 27th to March 10th of 2002. And our contemporary Simpsons episodes at this time were Jaws Wired Shut, which is the one where Homer gets his jaws wired shut and he learns to become a better listener. Half Decent Proposal, where Artie Ziff offers a small fortune to try and seduce Marge. The Bart Wants What It Wants, where Rainier Wolfcastle's daughter is attracted to Bart, who is not attracted to her or does not reciprocate the feelings. The Lastest Gun in the West, where Bart helps an old cowboy become popular and then that cowboy kind of falls apart. And The Old Man and the Key, where Grandpa tries to woo a woman by being able to drive. And that one is famous for being the origin of the old man yells at cloud meme. Any memories for any of these episodes, Janine?
Yes, the music is from Southern Hungary.
What?
And Jaws Wired Shut. Um, Homer writes down "so hungry" on his board.
Oh, okay. I I haven't rewatched these. Like these are the points where I kind of like have to push to stick through. But yeah, no, like Jaws Wired Shut has some good bits for it. It's kind of jerk Homer at peak jerk Homer era. But we get a bunch of new characters in these episodes that we can use. There's Ed O'Neill, Soccer Mummy, Autumn Shank, Baron von Kisselot, Jackington, Wolfgang Puck, Melvin Eugene Punymeyer, Robert Frost. Janine, we could use Robert fucking Frost. We can use Robert. The road went into 2 paths. Frost. Buck McCoy, Charo, Ray J. Johnson. You can call him Ray, or you can call him Jay. Yakov Smirnov? Janine, in Soviet Russia, we don't really have a good idea of what happened.
Okay. Um, yeah, it's a good amount. If honestly, it felt a little bit like easy mode if I wanted to use like this list and more from these episodes to do what is now being known as Rodrigo style.
Yes, Rodrigo has earned a style after getting 7 or 8 uh, picks in just by going all out there, which I don't think is necessarily a point against going Rodrigo style. Like
Uh,
just because we have a lot of episodes, or just because we have a lot of characters.
I feel though the start of the next arc, though, I'll go Rodrigo style.
That's not going to be for a while, Janine.
Ah,
Yeah, like we are going to be in Alabasta up until Christmas. And then we have 2 filler arcs. And then we have the short mini arc that is canon that I'm really looking forward to because that's going to be fucking wild.
okay. Wow.
Hmm. Yeah, I realized that with episode 16, I kind of it hit the end of episodes where I had like pre-done all of the work that I do for the show, beyond like writing up the summaries that I use, and it's like, oh, I need to go ahead and do more of these. So I think I've gotten up to episode 23 written up,
I
which
could
I think will
definitely.
also be our 1 year anniversary of doing the show.
Awesome. Wow.
Hmm.
Definitely gonna look forward to whatever that one would be. I cannot predict anything about this anime.
But you know what you can do, Janine?
What's that?
You can join me as we read through the titles of episodes 98 through 104, which we are covering this week. These include, and are you ready?
Yep.
Here come the desert pirates, the men who live free.
Spirit of the Fakes. The hearts of the rebel army. Camus? Camus?
Rebel warrior Koza, the dream sworn to Vivi.
Heat Haze Duel. Ace versus Scorpion Man.
Ruins and lost ways, Vivi, her friends, and the country's form.
At Spider's Cafe. The enemy ringleaders meet at 8 o'clock.
Luffy versus Vivi, a tearful vow for comrades. And yeah, we kind of start off with some filler stuff. One that I had mistakenly said that we were covering last week, but that is not the case. Uh so for those of you who are catching up, why this is a weird episode to just jump back in on. Uh the Straw Hat crew is currently on their way with Princess Vivi to try and stop a brewing war in Alabasta. Nami and Vivi are riding Eyelash the camel. They get separated from the others, and Luffy accidentally takes some mescaline and starts going wild, so Chopper has to knock him out, and also Ace gets separated on his own. And Janine, you know what I did.
What did you do?
I took half of an edible, so that's going to be kicking in sometime during the show. Probably, I think it's anywhere between like the next 6 minutes or the next 45 minutes. So we're going to see how that does.
Okay.
Hmm. So the gang finds out that Nami and Vivi have been captured by the Barbar Sand Pirates. Luffy ends up destroying their ship's mast when he tries to save them, and Barbarossa, the captain, introduces himself. They need to get some new wood for the mast. Luffy volunteers, and Zaba and Raza are assigned to join Vivi and Luffy to make sure that nothing goes wrong. Vivi and Luffy head out together because Vivi knows how to use a sand sled, and Rasa decides to antagonize Vivi to test her. Back at the base, bandits attack the pirates along with a giant dung beetle, but nothing really comes out of it. It's just, some fun times, some filler. They end up reaching the oasis, and Vivi remembers Rasa had previously been her friend, and the king had promised to help the oasis. And then when bad times started happening, it was abandoned by everyone except for Rasa, who waited behind and felt betrayed by Vivi. And so Vivi and Rasa return the wood and drop off the straw hats outside of another village. And we don't get like a super clear, like, oh, this is them making up. Because, I mean, Rasa calls out Vivi as kind of being like, you never came back. And Vivi's kind of like, yeah, there's a whole fucking country at stake. I'm sorry. And it is nice that they added in this filler episode as kind of a, hey, here's like another person who's been affected by what Crocodile's doing. Anything to add? Or.
Well, to be honest, I did like that there was an addition to another female character, as it seems that we were just kind of accumulating a lot of male characters,
Mhm.
just piling up. So it's great to have that happen, so it can break up the
Dick
different things that
Fest?
I wouldn't say dick fest because I headcanon some of them as trans men, but
Oh.
yeah, in spirit, dick fest.
Hmm. Hmm. I am interested in like who you have trans headcanons for,
Um,
if you don't mind sharing.
you know what? Give me some time so I could be able to like write down a list because I have like um a big um you know what? No, let's get into it right now.
Uh
Okay?
huh. Uh
All
huh.
right. So, um I ship Nami and Sanji, but in a cuckolding relationship where Nami is actually like fucking Zoro and blueballing Sanji the whole time, but Sanji knows but is kind of into it because Sanji's kind of into Zoro. Um Luffy is trans ace, so like not involved in any of the shipping.
Hmm.
Usopp is thought to be dead, but is actually following the group just right behind them, becoming a lot much more stronger.
Hmm.
And let's see. And I don't know where I had Vivi like put inside of like all of this.
Fair.
But that is like basically just kind of like how I how I perceive the relationship dynamics, whether or not it comes into fruition or not.
What about Chopper?
Uh Chopper watches.
I mean, the queer shipping of Zoro and Sanji has been popular forever. Luffy is pretty well regarded as being ace in ways that kind of get confirmed because really he has no interest in sex at all. Um, an interesting thing that I noticed when I was rereading and watching everything is the anime has a lot more sapphic direction between Nami and Vivi than I think the manga does. And I don't
Interesting.
know if it was just how I was reading. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. If you have your own shipping headcanons that are not full of spoilers, send them into the Twitter. Also, if you have any trans headcanons that saying are canon or not canon, I lost my train of thought there. Yeah, no, feel free to send stuff into the Twitter. I do love interacting with folks. So, getting back to things, Ace ends up reaching a village where some hoodlums are pretending to be rebels in exchange for food. And he sees the Straw Hats outside the village, greets them with food and water, and gives them the rundown. Vivi wants to test the hoodlums to see if they actually will protect the town. The hoodlums hear the sand pirates are outside and plan to run away from the town, but when they leave the gates, the Straw Hats are there waiting for them. The villagers are cheering them on, and with their backs against the walls, the hoodlums refuse to back down. Vivi is satisfied, and the Straw Hats back off as the villagers cheer their heroes, which this one feels a lot more fillery. Also, I don't think they actually use Camus's name anywhere beyond like the episode title. And even then, that's only the Japanese one.
It is really weird, just going through all of this and knowing that like this is has nothing that is substantial,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, like I guess it kind of like felt real, like, but it when you look at the map at the beginning of the episode and you see like the distance that's supposedly traveled,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you're like, well, it took like from point A to point B like one episode, and like that's like so much distance, but it's so little distance going like the next leg, and you have like to go through like 3 episodes to get to that.
It's all kabuki. So Vivi ends up explaining how she met Koza 11 years ago. Koza basically came in front of Cobra the King and was like, "Hey, we need help. You're failing us." And and his father Toto came in to apologize for what Koza was saying, and Cobra's just like, "No, you're right. Come live in Alubarna." And Koza initially refused the offer. Vivi got into a fight with him, and when Toto came to apologize for that, uh, Vivi fought Koza again, and she got to become the vice leader of Koza's gang. And Cobra's like, "Yeah, no, this makes sense. This is like a sign that our country is doing well." Some bandits tried to kidnap Vivi, but the Sansan clan, which is Koza's gang, fought to protect her. She didn't want to run away, especially when they were willing to kill her friends, but she had to. She ran into the ruins. Koza worked on protecting her, got a scar on his face in the process, and then Chakra, Igaram, Cobra, and Pel showed up, and Vivi was just upset that her friends would die for her, which, big mood. Cobra ends up giving Toto the support to start a town at what would be the Yuba Oasis, and Koza ends up saying goodbye to his friend. And we find out that now Koza is the leader of the rebels, and Yuba is their base, which is why they're heading there. And it's nice getting some context for Vivi's relationship.
I was going to make a Toto Africa, Toto Alabasta joke,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but in the time that I was waiting to tell the joke had gotten old.
Fair, fair. We then get another filler episode where a bounty hunter named Scorpion and his ostrich Popo have been waiting to catch Ace. They try a few times to get him, but it just doesn't take. Meanwhile, Luffy finds some kids who are trying to steal his food. Their names are Chip and Dip, and it all turns out that Chip and Dip are Scorpion's kids, and Scorpion was kind of like, "Oh yeah, I had to give up on my dreams. I don't want my kids to give up on their dreams. They think that they're going to have to give up on their dreams, so I'll show them that you can follow their dreams." So he lied about having run into Blackbeard, which is why Ace was out in the desert in the first place, and they all kind of like go their separate ways. Ace is like, "Hey, yeah, I'm not bothered at all by this guy Scorpion. He can't do shit to me." And knowing that Blackbeard isn't an Alabasta, he says goodbye and gives Luffy a mysterious scrap of paper that he promises will reunite them when they are both top pirates, which is what happens in the manga, just without any of the desert travel. And it's a weird episode just because of the names, like Scorpion, Popo, Chip, and Dip.
It really is. Also, like, the most baffling motive so far, I've been able to jump on board, like, with a lot of backstory. Even the some filler backstory,
Mm-hmm.
I've been able just to be like, "Okay, that's the story, 100%, I'm with it, whatever." This one, though, this one was just like there was some mental gymnastics that had to go on.
Janine, you shouldn't make kids think that they can. You shouldn't make kids think that they can never pursue their dreams and they have to give up everything. Like, there's a level of childhood innocence that is very important to maintain, and I
But the
think it's.
childhood innocence, I think, goes away when the children haven't eaten for 10 days because you abandoned them and they're trying to follow you for you to come home and take care of them. You know, the only parents.
I mean, they could have eaten potatoes. And their farm was apparently unaffected by the drought, comparatively.
I don't I don't think that you could be able to leave kids alone for that long and then like go out to do something and then come back and be like, "See, look at all of this time that I spent away from you following my dreams. It's possible."
That's fine. Luffy ends up taking more mescaline and attacks Zoro again. Chopper goes to stop them, and they end up falling into a giant dome under the sand where they find a massive, mysterious engraved stone. The rest of the group moves to the ruins that are on top of a hill. Vivi wonders what exactly she is working to save. Luffy rockets everybody out of the cave and ends up meeting them when the wind changes because Chopper can smell Nami and Vivi's perfume. This is another filler one, and it is one that is wild that it exists for stuff that won't make sense for like another 30 episodes or so. Beyond Luffy, Zoro, and Chopper just wouldn't comment on the massive mysterious stone that they find. It's a filler of a filler.
Okay. I did
Mm-hmm.
like that it did show like the dynamics of these characters that all haven't been able to like interact inside of their group.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Chopper cares about people. Zoro wants to maintain some level of order, but has no sense of direction, and Luffy's just doing whatever Luffy does, which includes doing a bunch of mescaline.
Okay.
I I mean, I made sure that it's like, is Luffy doing mescal? And it's like, no, mescal is a liquor. Mescaline is the hallucinogen that is made into peyote. Which is honestly horrifying that he just keeps doing it. So meanwhile, at the Spiders Cafe, Miss Merry Christmas and Mr. Four show up, where Paula the bartender serves them as the other leaders show up. Mr. Two disperses his men while Mr. Three is watching everyone secretly. Mr. One appears after everyone, and he knocked out Mr. Two's men, and they almost get into a fight, but Paula stops him and reveals that she is Miss Doublefinger. They head off on Banshee, the giant turtle in a cowboy hat, to head towards Rain Base, where they are going to finally meet their boss. Meanwhile, the Straw Hats reach Yuba, which is being hit with a sandstorm. They find a man digging for water, and when they reveal that they are looking for the rebel army, he gets angry partially because they abandoned the town and moved to Kataria, back in the direction that the pirates came from, and the man reveals that he is Toto. and he begs for Vivi to stop the rebels, and she promises to do her best. And it's like a good quick return to Toto. Luffy tries to help Toto dig for water, falls asleep while doing it, and we we just get a nice moment of Luffy kind of being the kid who wants to help dig and does not understand how digging is supposed to work. The officer agents, meanwhile, make their way to Rain Dinners, the casino that is owned by Crocodile. There they meet Miss All Sunday, and they find out that their boss actually is Crocodile. He explains that he set up Baroque Works to attain military strength and to steal the country, and he gives everyone their final missions and orders. Mr. 3 appears in the meeting to beg for forgiveness and to apologize, and he reveals that the Straw Hats and Princess Vivi are still alive and escaped him. And Crocodile's like, "Why were you so? Why did you promise me they were dead?" And he's like, "I've never talked to you." And so that's when they start to put together what's been going on. And Mr. 2 reveals that he met everybody on the crew except for Sanji and is able to get their pictures out. And he is also kind of like, there's this nice moment where Mr. 2 just realizes that, oh, these new friends that he made are people who he is specifically supposed to kill. And he's just kind of crestfallen by that. So Crocodile decides that he's still going to kill Mr. 3 because he failed his mission. He dries him out and then feeds him to his banana gators. And Crocodile knows that he has to prevent Vivi from meeting with Koza no matter the cost. And we get a lot of character for the Baroque Works members, which I think is interesting. Uh,
I find myself both loving and hating Miss Merry Christmas.
so I will ask you what you think her powers are when we get down to the characters section. The Straw Hats prepare to leave in the morning, and Toto gives Luffy some of the water that he had worked to dig up, and Luffy promises to drink it with care. And then he immediately decides that he is going to quit because he wants Vivi to confront the fact that she wants nobody to die, which Luffy knows is impossible. And especially Vivi is only fine sacrificing herself. And Luffy's like, no, we don't want you to do that, especially if you think no one has to die. It's a nice moment of kind of strengthening her resolve and understanding what she wants. And that's where we kind of end for now. It's some filler, some setup, and we have 19 characters to match Janine.
Ouch.
Excuse me.
Some
Mm-hmm.
of which were supposed to be named last time.
Yes. Up first we have Chaka again. Uh, do you have any new ones for Chaka?
I did not anticipate Chaka. Chaka wasn't on my copy.
Chaka's at the top of the image. Did I not share the image gallery? Oh no. I was trying to figure out where there was a numbering discrepancy. I had the mayor of Edo on initially, but he does not have a name or a birthday, so I don't think we need to come up with a name for him.
Ah.
So sorry, that is a mistake that I made. Uh, so last time for Chaka, you had suggested nobody because you wanted more of Chaka.
Who doesn't want more of Chaka?
I mean, we're going to get more of Chaka. It's just still going to be a bit. Um, I'll push for Eddie from Simpsons Bible Stories as my number 2 to go with Johansson.
Hmm. Are you sure you wouldn't want to use the newly acquired Robert Frost?
I did have Robert Frost on my Rodrigo style list. Um,
Ooh.
mhm. You know what? If you want to put down Robert Frost, I'm good to go with Robert Frost, Janine.
Huh. All right.
All right. So our updated Chaka is Robert Frost. Now getting into the actual ones we care about. We have we have the Barbar Pirate Captain Barbarossa. And I have four different suggestions for Barbarossa. My Rodrigo style one is Wolfgang Puck because they just have similarly robust uh, physiques and also beards. Uh, Other ones that I had include Mutant Horatio McAllister, aka the Sea Captain, Chet Simpson, the unsuccessful shrimp farmer, and the Los Souvenir Jaquitos leader. Janine, who do you have for Barbarossa?
Fidel Castro.
Interesting. Anyone else along with Fidel?
I do not.
I feel like Fidel we are going to potentially have more use for.
I love now that I get to ask you, are we going to put Fidel Castro in the Uter pile?
Fidel Castro is going to share in the public Uter pile that we have here. Out of the ones that we have, just because I know we frequently are in need of chefs, so I don't necessarily want to toss Wolfgang Puck out. I feel like Chet Simpson, who is just a Simpsons man, would work well. No one remembers Chet. Like, Chet gets his name not even in the episode Lisa the Simpson, but like in extraneous material.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bit sad.
Mm-hmm.
But then
So are you
again,
good?
like I'm like really used to like having like the Scrooge McDuck like family tree printout things that they have in the books all the time. So
Oh, they have a few of those.
really,
Uh-huh. For The Simpsons, and they've had to actually retcon some of it.
really,
Yeah. Especially when they did an episode somewhere where it's like, did you ever watch the Family Guy episode where Peter found out that he had a black ancestor?
I think so.
Yeah, they essentially did that again, but for The Simpsons.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that would be even better as a premise.
Yeah. I have not actually seen that one, so I can't fully judge it. But do we just want to go with Chet?
Yes,
All right. We then have Rasa, who is Vivi's old friend. I do also like how the Sand Pirates have umbrellas over their heads. Who did you have for Rasa?
it's Britney, bitch. I have Britney Spears. I just realized that we hadn't used her yet in anything, and I was just like, of all of the female characters that we have in this episode, I feel closer to give it to this one.
Uh, Let me see. Okay, yes. Like, the episode that she appears in was 2 years earlier in the timeline, so that is a option that we have. I have four again. My Rodrigo style one is Greta Wolfcastle, the daughter of Rainier Wolfcastle.
Hmm.
I also have Kim, who is Marge's high school friend, to kind of fit that idea of Marge being our Vivi and friends who they used to know. I also had on Evelyn Peters, who is Marge's friend from, who is Marge's sort of who is Marge's high society sort of friend from scenes from a class struggle in Springfield. And then I had Zelda, who's the old lady who Grandpa falls in love with. I think I just put that on as another Rodrigo style one.
That makes sense.
I feel like Greta or Kim.
I think Kim would work. I do love the idea of having past Marge like really fit in with the Vivi story, so that Alabasta is a mixture of Simpsons Bible stories and uh,
Flashbacks.
flashbacks.
I can't wait. I know where we're going to be able to use the Larry Davis experience.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I am good with Kim then. We then have Zaba, who is kind of just like the extra person who was given a name here. Lantern jaw, visible six pack. He he fucks, but also doesn't do much. I had three suggestions for him. I had the tram driver from the Canadian studio that they go to, the hippie bus driver. That would be the one I brought up before, who frequently helps Mona Simpson get away, or the one of the members of the Jaquitos who has a Taz on his jacket because Taz is tough. Janine, who do you have for Zaba?
I have the Southern Sheriff from when the
Mm-hmm.
Simpsons went to Florida, that is voiced by Daedric Bader.
My favorite Batman voice. My favorite Batman, I will say. I will go that far.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm. Like, not only is he great in Brave and the Bold, but he's also great in Harley Quinn. Are you watching Harley Quinn?
I'm not. What do you think about my choice, though? I think we're.
He doesn't have anything to do with the law.
And you would want to hold on to this particular sheriff. Is it because he's voiced by Daedric Bader?
No, it's more the law purposes.
Okay.
Uh, we are semi spoilers is going to get to a point where it's just like, oh, here's like 20 new Marine characters who just appear in a background and all have names and specific powers.
Oh no.
Yeah. 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 Uh I feel like the tram driver, like Zaba looks cool. We will never think about Zaba again.
That's very sad for Zaba because Zaba fucks, you know?
Uh-huh.
It's a good design to just like use for a one off and throw away.
Uh-huh. He's just off fucking. Uh so tram driver then?
I suppose.
We're I feel like we got to burn through some of these ones that don't matter because the final four are going to be uh very contentious probably. Next we have Camus, a guy who looks like if Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII and Crazy Frog had a child.
Sure. Wow, that's very specific and weird, but also like kind of fits the aesthetic set forth. So,
Yeah. I had four options once again. My Rodrigo style is Autumn Shank, the Indian answer to Brian Dennehy. And then Larry the Looter, Lee Carvalho, and Mr. O'Bannon. Those other three are all video game characters just because he strikes me as a this is someone's like they tried to design a video game character based off of having seen Cloud. Like he just strikes me as very much JRPG. before like Final Fantasy went high fashion. Who do you have for Camus?
Jimmy the Snitch. Because you could just give that face the name Jimmy the Snitch just on its own, just by that own merit, and
Mm-hmm.
it would just fit. That person's a weasel, up and down.
I can see it. How do you feel about him compared to Larry the Looter?
Hmm. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Oh, you know what, Janine?
What's
You
that?
can't use Jimmy the Snitch. He
Why's
doesn't.
that?
He premieres in 2003.
Oh my god, another one.
Dabbed. I'm sorry that the future has not come soon enough.
There's
Uh,
gonna come a time that we're gonna like reach an area where like we're not gonna have that problem because all of our memory is gonna be like already in past, and the problem is using the new ones of the episodes we haven't seen yet.
we're also going to start getting to anthology episodes soon, where it's just going to be easy because we'll have like two new Barts a season at least.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm. So then Larry the Looter.
sure.
All right. We then have dun 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 Toto. Who do you have for Toto?
I have old Gil.
Gil Gunderson.
Yeah, because this guy is straight up pathetic.
He is a guy who loves to bootlick. He is a guy who believes all the propaganda he sees. He is a guy who would have committed war crimes if he was asked to. He is a guy who his son Koza would not allow him to use Facebook. He is a guy who his son Koza called the cable company and said, "You are specifically not allowed to put Fox News on."
That's old Gil for you.
Well, I had three. We my Rodrigo style one was Robert Frost. We have used Robert Frost since. I also had Admiral Carstairs and also Bob Hope. Because you know what Toto has, Janine?
What's that?
Hope. Bob Hope. We don't have Johnny Cash yet. We'll probably find some good time to use Space Coyote, but Toto, if one thing, is defined by his Bob Hope.
I'm really gonna push for old Gil on this one. Gil is a perpetual loser. So has Toto been.
So, I mean, Toto Toto's going to have some more shit thrown at him eventually, like years later, and this is not adapted into the manga as far as I'm aware of. He has a partial ownership stake in a spa where you have to travel hundreds of miles under the crust of the earth to reach it.
If that is not a Gil ass job, I don't know what is.
Okay, if I told you my pick for Gil is something that I've had since the like immediately after the concept of the show started, would that change things? Like
Oh
there is
my
a
god.
there is a guy who is a perpetual loser who is a incredibly divisive character. Like so many people I know feel the same way as I do about Gil fucking Gunderson as they do about this character.
Wow.
Hmm.
Have you ever felt yourself on the edge of an opinion you can't form yet because you don't know the material, but you know you're gonna have one?
Hmm.
It's like a rainstorm, except with a hot take, I guess.
Janine, I try and bring surprises and magic into this world. Oh, Admiral Carstairs also works because he is old as hell and he gets made fun of by Larry Burns.
I guess that's something.
Also, he has a mustache.
Okay, that fits it a little better then.
So Admiral Carstairs.
Go on with it.
All right. We then have Ozwa, who is Toto's wife, and uh, yeah, she just invites everyone in for dinner. Like, is not even named in the manga. Like, Koza doesn't even say, "Hey, mom." My Rodrigo style one was female curling host, and then my other one that I had was Zelda, the old lady who Grandpa falls in love with and who tries to use him for his car. Who do you have for Ozwa?
Agnes Flanders, Flanders' mom, who's a beatnik.
Interesting. How how do you feel about Zelda or female curling host?
I feel I feel like Zelda has more points that could be able to be matched with other characters that aren't this particular one.
Mm-hmm.
I do like hitting Flanders' mom for the matronly but otherwise ineffective parenting.
Uh, Female curling host has red hair and glasses and says things like, "Two Yankee Doodles have turned this match into a dandy."
Tempting as that is.
Does Ozwa speak to you as an ineffective beatnik?
Ozwa speaks to me as an ineffective parent.
I feel like we may want to hold off on her just for
Luke, you're
one piece is going.
stonewalling me so fucking hard on this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, take a look at the past like hits, bro. That is a lot of Luke out there.
Yeah, because I came correct.
Oh my god. You're trying to
Ozwa
you're trying
could.
to argue with me somebody who doesn't have a name and somebody else who's like obviously like a different vibe in the character.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a Rodrigo style.
Oh yeah, female curling host is Rodrigo style. Like I feel female curling host because of red hair, glasses, and gets one line. Agnes Flanders has been used in memes. Like we've tried everything and we're whatever it is. We're all out of options. Or we've tried nothing. Yeah. Like I don't get that from Agnes. Or I don't get that from Ozwa. Like Ozwa is less of a character than that.
You you can't use meme status as something because people latch on to any meme. Look at the dud. You've seen the dud.
The dud is great.
But the dud, like we could not like save a character. I would not let you like throw the dud inside of the Ooter pile just on the grounds that the dud is the best Simpsons meme.
Oh, I don't think the dud is the best Simpsons meme.
Then you didn't come correct, Luke.
Janine,
Maybe go home and try again.
I see like 20 new Simpsons memes every day. I see too many Simpsons memes.
I wasn't aware I was speaking to a connoisseur.
How? Yeah, I don't think I'm convinced enough for Agnes Flanders to.
I think I find your obsession with wanting to hold on to Agnes Flanders a little bit disturbing. Maybe we should take a look into that. Or we can just, just mark the name off so that we don't have to think about it too much.
I mean, woman with glasses and a beret who's ineffective. What's not to like?
I was trying to think of like if that like described literally anything else and like to see if there was
Doug's
like a
sister
cross.
Judy.
Oh my god. Sure, Judy Funny. You got it.
I mean, do we want to table this for now so you can try and get some points? Because I think there are some ones that I am less dedicated to.
Oh my god. You're dedicated to choices that came up on our Rodrigo style. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's skip for now.
All right. We then have Agatogi, the bandit who captures Vivi and gets beaten up by a bunch of kids. My Rodrigo style was Baron von Kisselot, and my other one was Sardonicus, a redheaded inmate. Janine, who you got?
Herman. There is a similarity in the facial expression, especially in early animated Hermans, when looking at him from the front view, which is rare for Simpsons that is mostly three-quarter profile.
Mm-hmm. I had to check to make sure that we had not used Herman yet, because he's come up frequently, and the only result that I got was fisherman. I I feel bad because it's like Herman is still a big name for this guy who, as far as I am, like 900 chapters later, has not come up yet. I could always be wrong. Like he could always show up as Higuma the Mountain Bandit. But like Herman is a character who has figures.
Who did you have then?
Sardonicus. I will see if I can quickly get a photo. Simpsons Wiki back again. Talking about that East Coast swang. Those two men going strong. Diddle-diddle-diddle-doo. Ah, yes, I have sent you a photo of, or a picture of Sardonicus. He was told to quit stabbing when he was painting.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. Agatogi, he'd be fine continuing to stab. Are you good going with Sardonicus?
Sure, yeah.
We then have Okami, who is a young girl in the Rebels, but we also end up seeing her as an adult now because like all these kids here do start showing up, and if you do want to like put some of these on hold, I can also roll with that because we have Okami, Kiri, and Nato.
Um, sure. I wasn't able to think of anything in time. I gave myself a pretty short window so I could be able to like make sure that I have everything fresh. That's usually how I do things, but
Hmm.
I cut it close a little too much this time, and the only suggestion I had was a 3-pack to get all 3 of them down in one take was the Rapping Rabbis. But, if we wanna table them for a little bit later till we get a little bit more characterization on them, we can save the rabbis for later.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a good choice since I mean the rabbis are all dudes, and one of these is a girl. So, all right, well, I will save mine until then. So, Okami, Kibi, and Nato are all tabled. We then have Scorpion. I had three suggestions for Scorpion. Rodrigo's style is Buck McCoy, the washed up cowboy. I also have Bruno Dundridge, the Australian who ends up getting the massive phone bill. And there's also Gus, the farmer slash parliament member who Bruno Dundridge goes to when uh, he gets the aforementioned bill. Who do you have for Scorpion?
Troy Aikman.
My brain is like, that's a football man, right? Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. I was just double checking because I know some of the sports people arrived later. Do you feel that Troy Aikman is better than the three options that I have?
I do.
All right. I will give you Troy Aikman as Scorpion. Keep it nice and simple. We then have Popo, Scorpion's ostrich. Who do you have for Popo, Scorpion's ostrich?
I don't know if we used her yet, but Queenie, the chicken that replaces Homer.
I do not believe we have. So I have three again. My Rodrigo style is Frank the Wonder Horse. I also have Big Bird and also Stampy's Bird. I'm going to look up Queenie and see. Ah, so there are apparently three different Queenies in The Simpsons.
Really?
Yes.
I wonder if that was just like a thing that they had, like an inside joke for the animators.
One of them is a horse, and one of them is one of Santa's little helpers' puppies. So I think it's just a generic animal name. Um, yeah, I'm good going with Queenie if you are.
Sure, yeah, definitely.
All right, we then have Chip and Dip.
I mean, it seems kind of obvious what I'm going to suggest.
Uh huh.
I mean, little boys with names that rhyme.
Rod and Todd.
Yeah,
There. So I have three sets of options again. My Rodrigo style is there were two bullies in the film Undercover Nerd who try and pick on Rainier Wolfcastle's character, and then he ends up, I believe, sticking one through the other. So I have Undercover Nerd Bullies 1 and 2. I also have Barton Hugo as just a throwaway pitch. But then I also have Sherry and Terry from Simpsons Battle Stories because I looked at every stop frame and there are no Rod and Todd in that one. But I'm
Rod and Todd are not inside of Simpsons Bible stories.
at least in the Moses one.
Huh. Okay.
I'd I'd say go with Sherry and Terry from Simpsons Bible Stories since you still get the rhyming, even though they're twins. It's fine. I mean, Rod and Todd are Uterpile, unless we find like a good variant of them that we can
I
use.
just don't think that there's going to be like anything for Rod and Todd. Like,
Janine, before the
I understand that they're memeable. I understand that they're like pretty like secondary characters, not even tertiary characters. Like, I just think they're just kind of a curse because I don't think that there's ever going to be a kid that's both good enough and important enough to get a Rod or Todd. And I feel like that these good children are albatrosses on our necks that just need to be thrown at the first pair of adorable children that we can so we could be done with them.
Janine. I'm begging you to save Rod and Todd, Janine. Like, were you expecting that there would be something to throw Queenie the chicken at before this episode?
As much as I can be able to say no on that one, I also know that like children have their limitations. And when two boys that have names that rhyme show up on your doorstep, you
Mm-hmm.
don't tell them to wait for another Simpsons Bible stories where we might be able to get the right pairing. Especially if we know that there's going to be more alternates that we could be able to use
Yeah, and we
that
could
are going to
use
be
those.
coming in the future.
But I feel like our pure, uncut Rod, well, no, I guess they both would have been circumcised, but our, like, forms of Rod and Todd, the Rod and Todd from which all others spring from, the ones whom even the writers have been inconsistent about which one is older and which is which. I feel like we need to preserve that goodness, especially not using them on filler characters.
The Simpsons is nothing but filler. The fact that anything shows up again is a miracle.
Oh, have you heard about the reveal from the most recent episode?
What's that?
Oh, that Martin Prince is actually like a 40-year-old undercover cop with like 3 kids and a wife. They did an episode where hackers went in and stole clips from all of the worst potential Simpsons ideas that they had.
Wow.
It's very good. Uh like it is the best episode in the season, though so far the season's been eh. Anna Faris shows up in it.
Oh,
Hmm.
as herself or like as another character?
She's one of the hackers,
Okay.
and it's great to see her getting work, especially because she actually does a good job voice acting.
No.
Um,
So, we were just about to agree on Rod and Todd.
no, we are not agreeing on Rod and Todd. Uh, if you want to use these children as a bargaining chip to get Agnes Flanders in, and then I'll just put Sherry and Terry from Simpsons Bible Stories in here, we can hit technically three birds with one stone.
Sure.
I'm willing to let Agnes Flanders go to protect Rod and Todd. All right. Up next, we have Miss Doublefinger, aka Paula from Spider's Cafe. And I do love the name Spider's Cafe because it just makes me think of the good bit from Crazy Ex Girlfriend, where there's Spiders, which is the name of a club, but then there's an apostrophe between the R and the S. And it's just like, why is it called that? And it, I think, turns out to be there's two brothers who own it with the last name Spider.
Okay.
So, oh yeah, Miss Doublefinger is one that we went and took suggestions for on the old Twitter. So let's pick up that phone.
Pere, 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 pere. Pere, 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 pere. Pere, 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 pere.
All right. So, Janine, beyond you putting in a retweet that is unfit for a Christian manga or a Christian anime podcast, we had two suggestions come in this week because Miss Doublefinger is a hard one to pick for. Sandro said Selma, and Olin said Ginger Flanders, which I I actually kind of like Ginger Flanders as an idea. So shout out Olin. Your name, can you also say shout out Olin?
Shout out Olin.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So who do you have for Miss Doublefinger?
Let's see here. I have Judge Constance Harm.
Also, what do you think Miss Doublefinger's power is?
I want to say, let's see if it has some do something. Actually, I can't even think about that. Like if it's gonna be like related to like the day because it's 1/1 April.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sorry, January 1st. I know when the calendar starts. Um, I'm gonna say, wow, that's really tough. Huh? Because I don't know what Mr. One's powers are, so I can't think of anything that would be complementary to anything. But then again, stuff kind of varies like the higher the number gets. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Mr. 3 and Golden Week only kind of sort of work together.
yeah, they're team arts and crafts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is it? Hmm. I was gonna ask if it was like, hmm.
Oh,
Is it?
just go
Is it
for
okay? Is it
it.
self duplication?
No, it is not.
Okay.
It's it's going to be a weird one and a horny one.
Oh, okay.
So the four ones that I had, starting with my Rodrigo style, which was Miss Van Hookstraten, was Femme Fatale, played by a canonical trans actress in The Simpsons. Phillips, who was one of Marge's inmates who used a Phillips head screwdriver, and Peggy Bundy. Just I was trying to figure out weird couples, and that one spoke to me. I'd say either Femme Fatale or Phillips for ones that I kind of push for. Femme Fatale has more of the vibe than I think Phillips does.
I do like Phillips more though.
Um, let me Google Phillips again. Let me update my Simpsons Phillips fanfic DeviantArt page again. I mean, Phillips is definitely a lot more muscular in a way that I don't think Miss Doublefinger is generally. And also, Femme Fatale did pretend to be a just plain employee before it was revealed that she was a femme fatale.
I think I'm gonna defer to your judgment on this one. I still don't know a lot about the character to really get a positive
Mm-hmm.
vibe on
Oh,
her.
oh, we also have Ginger Flanders. So let me.
That's right, Ginger Flanders. You know, that's not a bad idea either.
Yeah, you know what? Olin gets the first spot with Ginger Flanders.
Twitter, you are on the board now.
Yes, Olin specifically, because you have now topped some of our guests in terms of number of ones who they have gotten on the board. So thank you for playing at home. Also, thank you to everyone who voted in the poll. Up next, we have Miss Merry Christmas, or Miss Merry Christmas, who is a very short woman who is very impatient. I have three suggestions. My Rodrigo style one was Charo. I also had Lucille Botskowski and Eleanor Abernathy. What about you, Janine?
It's very funny you mentioned Lucille because my pick is actually from the same episode, but it is actually the uh Rubber Baby Buggy Bumpers um babysitting lady who answers the phone. The specific just vibe and not wanting to deal with bullshit when it's mentioned that Bart Simpson is one of the ones to be.
And I believe she is voiced by June Foray, famously the voice of Rocky from Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Amazing. That's who
Mm-hmm.
you want as your Miss Merry Christmas.
Does, though, it not fascinate you that I'm willing to use Lucille Botskowski? Oh, also, what do you think Miss Merry Christmas's powers are?
You see, it's very hard because I want to think that it's related something to Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like it's gonna be something that's gonna be like completely different.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna play it safe and just say ice powers, maybe? Who knows?
That is an interesting guess to whet your appetite. On the Four Kids dub, she becomes Miss Groundhog Day. Because apparently calling her Miss Merry Christmas is too much. You can't bring religion into anime. Um, I feel confident in Lucille Botskowski.
You feel confident in that.
Mm-hmm.
The babysitter bandit?
Yeah, the babysitter bandit.
Hmm.
She is very dangerous. Also has a similarly short temper.
But do people always do what she says?
Yes, actually. Her whole plan involves people listening to her. We are going to see that in two of our episodes. I am so excited for that.
That's a lot of trust in that because I really like everybody shares that same piece of fluid animation that they just don't do in The Simpsons no more.
Oh, Lucille Botskowski and Miss Merry Christmas don't have very supportive bras. They just got saggy older woman tits.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go with the decision for now, but after powers are revealed, I want the power to be able to contest it if I feel like I have a better pick or if the pick is not good.
I think the court will allow it specifically for Miss Merry Christmas, so I'll put a asterisk next to Lucille Botskowski's name.
This is also gonna be very fun because this is gonna set precedent in the future.
Yeah, yeah. Then we have Mr. Four. Who do you have for Mr. Four?
You know I'm gonna try to get rid of Uter Zorker. There's just too many similarities going on right there with that guy. It's hard to not look at and see Uter.
I can see it. What do you think Mr. Four's power is?
Huh. I think it's gonna be something that's like definitely gonna be like somebody's fetish. So I'm gonna say inflation.
uh we will see that. I have uh three suggestions for him. My Rodrigo style one is Melvin Eugene Punymeyer, who is the nerd that Rainier Wolfcastle plays. I also have Bernie, who is one of the two bee watchers who are left with Homer in the basement to watch the bee. And then I also have Mike Sosha,
Okay.
which is in some ways the most fitting one because while I know they definitely say in the Four Kids dub, Mr. Four actually does not have any devil fruit.
Ah,
Mm-hmm. So, like, in that picture that I have of him, what does it look like is on his back?
that's a good question. I don't know if you sent the.
Oh, damn, did I?
Ah, you
I
did. Hang
okay.
on. I just haven't opened it yet. Is that a drill?
It is a bat.
Okay.
Because what has a bat in four of something?
What?
Baseball!
Okay. I don't know why I'm surprised baseball is a thing that exists inside of this universe that where a lot of other stuff basically still does too.
Yeah, weirdly, I did not go and take the time to find out who in that episode was a batter in you know who we could put on who would fit as a baseball batter?
Who's that?
Ken Griffey. Oh, wait, no. Ken Griffey was also a outfielder. Wait, I obviously don't understand baseball because sometimes the outfielders also have to be the batters. Janine, I think the edible is hit. Okay, yeah, so I go back to Mike Sosha as my big one that I'm pushing for.
Okay.
Are you good with Mike Sosha?
Yeah, I wasn't very married to the idea of Uter Zorker. While it did seem obvious to me, I was like, there's gonna be something.
Mm-hmm. And up last, we have Mr. One. And Janine, who do you... Oh, wait, no, I went. You went first last time. So, Janine, I have... For my Rodrigo style one was St. John Van Hookstraden, who runs the Canadian private school. There's also Jack Crowley, Leopold, and Al Bundy. Who do you have for Mr. One?
I have McBain. I think I was just really motivated by how he showed up inside of Spider's Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of entrance definitely felt out of a McBain movie. So
Mm-hmm. What do you think his power is?
I want to say that he gets a lot of muscles and he gets super strong.
Interesting. That is not what it is, but it's we I am very excited for 2 episodes when you get to see fights. Um yeah. I'm I'm good to go with McBain, honestly. Like I know that might be a bit of a surprise.
It is, but I think that you also might be motivated knowing that Rainier Wolfcastle has filmed under other names, and McBain is just one of many.
Mm-hmm. I think he has a very direct energy, though, Mr. One, and he is the only one of these characters who, in the anime, we will see coming back
Ah,
after this arc. After this arc, so all right. So to go over who we have again, our revised Chaka is Robert Frost. Our Barbarossa is Chet Simpson. Our Raza is Kim. Our Zaba is Tram Driver. Our Camus is Larry the Looter. Our Toto is Admiral Carstairs. Our Aswa is Agnes Philanders. Our Agatogi is Sardonicus. We have tabled Akame, Kibi, and Nato. Our Scorpion is Troy Aikman. Our Popo is Queenie the Chicken. Our Chip and Dip are Sherry and Terry from Simpsons Bible Stories. Our Miss Doublefinger is Ginger Flanders. Our Miss Merry Christmas with an asterisk is Lucille Botzkowski. Our Mr. Ford is Mike Sosha, and our Mr. One is McBain. Janine,
yes.
where can you be found online?
Oh, you could be able to find me online on Twitter at Janine Juliet, and you could also find my voice in various Luke Hair podcast productions.
You can find out more about those productions at lukeherr.com, LUKEHERR, or just follow me on Twitter at Coltreg. That's KOLTREG. I just recently wrapped up my Magic the Gathering Ravnica inspired D&D mini-series as part of Established Property Playhouse, which you can find at establishedpropertyplayhouse.com or on any of the other servers. You are listening and have been listening to DohMance Dawn, our alternating weekly One Piece podcast. Something that I think I'd mentioned that I didn't really follow up on is there's One Piece movies. If you would be interested in seeing us cover these movies, which would also be a good way to get more guests on the show, let us know on the Twitter, like when you hear this part, if you would like us to cover some of the movies. Some of them it will be harder to because they didn't get official US releases, but I think it would be fun. And like I said, we'd be able to get some more guests onto the show, especially when we get to much longer arcs. DohMance Dawn can be found at DohMance Dawn, and we should be on all major podcatchers. If you are listening to the podcast on something other than a podcatcher or what have you. I don't really know what you're doing. I don't know how I got here. Yeah, let us know. Leave reviews. Please, please, please tell your friends. And I think that's about it. Oh, shout out to Mike, the new cover artist, who has been blowing it away. Like, I really enjoy Mike's covers. They have a high uh, they have a very different but very cool cover style. You can find Mike P at Patent Pending. That's PATTNPENDING. And that wraps it up. I mentioned the Twitter. I mentioned leaving reviews. I mentioned the website, which is our Tumblr. Please retumble stuff. Get back onto Tumblr in case Twitter shuts down. Yeah, that wraps it up. Janine, anything else you have to add before I say goodbye and give our preview of the next episode?
Oh yeah, if anybody's listening, if you have any particular headcanons, um, about these characters that are not spoilery, that don't go past what we've discussed so far,
Mm-hmm.
please send that to us. And um, it's a good celebration for us now. We made it through watching, or at least I know I've made it through watching 100 episodes of an anime I haven't watched before.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations, Janine. You have made a significant dedication of time on watching this show.
Yeah, that's 10% of what it currently exists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, current One Piece is wild. It's just like, oh, there's a gender changing disease. Okay, One
Okay.
Piece. Yeah. Anyway, next time the gang goes to the casino and Luffy fucking dies. We'll see you then, mateys.
But Mary
Arg.
gets to live.
Always.